Network security is no longer a purely technical function. It is an executive responsibility tied directly to business continuity, reputation, and regulatory trust. Executives must ensure that the organization's critical services and data flows are protected through a coherent, risk-aligned architecture. This means balancing uptime, performance, and security without compromising one for the other. Evidence-based oversight is achieved through metrics and dashboards that translate technical status into business language. Furthermore, executives must ensure that their organizations remain defensible in regulatory or legal inquiries by maintaining transparent records of controls, audits, and remediation actions. Network security, when governed at the top, becomes an enterprise risk management pillar rather than a back-office concern. Modern network architecture has evolved into a complex but more resilient framework. Traditional three-tiered designs, core, distribution, and access layers remain relevant but are now integrated with principles of identity and trust. Traffic patterns have shifted from simple north-south movements in and out of the data center to more complex east-west communications between internal systems and services. Zero-trust network principles replace the outdated concept of a single trusted internal perimeter, ensuring that verification occurs at every step. Identity-aware routing and access controls mean that who and what is connecting matters more than where the connection originates. Executives must ensure this architectural evolution aligns with both operational priorities and regulatory expectations. Segmentation and microsegmentation provide the structural boundaries that keep incidents contained. Instead of relying on one large network where compromise in one area exposes all others, segmentation divides environments into zones based on business function and sensitivity. Critical systems, such as finance, HR, or manufacturing, reside in isolated segments governed by strict access policies. Microsegmentation extends this granularity to the application and user level, enforcing least privilege movement within data centers and clouds. This approach not only limits lateral movement by adversaries, but also provides detailed visibility into communication flows between systems. When managed well, segmentation becomes both a containment mechanism and a transparency tool for executives overseeing cyber risk. The traditional network perimeter, once symbolized by firewalls guarding a clear corporate border, has effectively dissolved. Today's users, data, and applications exist everywhere, in clouds, branches, and home offices. The new perimeter is distributed across secure web gateways, cloud access security brokers, and API-level enforcement points. DDoS mitigation services scrub malicious traffic before it ever reaches the organization's infrastructure, while policy enforcement now happens closer to the user and the workload. This decentralization demands unified policy orchestration to maintain consistency across these multiple edges. Executives must champion architectures that retain control without sacrificing the flexibility and performance modern operations require. Visibility is the foundation upon which network defense and governance depend. Flow data, captured through NetFlow or IPFix, offers a broad view of network activity, identifying who talks to whom and how often. Full packet capture may be warranted for high-risk segments, allowing forensic reconstruction of events when breaches occur. As encryption becomes ubiquitous, encrypted traffic analytics help detect anomalies without decrypting sensitive data, balancing privacy with oversight. Centralized log ingestion, feeding into SIEM or data lake platforms, enables correlation across layers and regions. For executives, visibility metrics are assurance. They confirm that no part of the network operates in darkness, unseen or unmanaged. Cryptographic protection of data in transit is another executive-level priority. Modern organizations must standardize on TLS 1.2 or 1.3 protocols, enforcing strong cipher suites and lifecycle managed certificates. Mutual TLS establishes trust not only between clients and servers, but also between internal services, ensuring authenticity at every connection. Decision frameworks comparing VPNs to Zero Trust Network Access (ZTNA) solutions help determine which model aligns best with performance, scalability, and compliance requirements. Finally, executives should ensure key management processes are auditable, automated, and globally consistent. A single expired certificate or weak encryption policy can disrupt business operations and undermine customer confidence. Threat detection at the network layer serves as the organization's early warning system. Intrusion detection and prevention systems, IDS/IPS, monitor for malicious signatures and suspicious behaviors, alerting security teams to potential compromises in transit. Tuning these systems is essential. Outdated or noisy rules create alert fatigue and blind spots. Beyond static signatures, anomaly detection models identify deviations from normal traffic baselines, capturing previously unknown attack techniques. Sandboxing technologies safely detonate suspicious objects before they reach endpoints, while enriched threat intelligence correlates flow data with known malicious indicators. A mature detection framework offers executives measurable assurance that the network is actively monitored and ready to contain threats in real time. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. DNS and email remain the top vectors for network-borne compromise. DNS filtering and response policy zones, RPZ, redirect users away from known malicious or suspicious domains. Sinkholing tactics capture outbound traffic destined for command and control servers, disrupting malware communications. Email security builds on DNS authentication through DMARC, SPF, and DKIM standards, preventing domain spoofing and brand impersonation. Attachments and URLs undergo sandbox analysis and detonation to reveal hidden payloads before users can engage. Continuous brand and domain abuse monitoring extend defense beyond the enterprise, safeguarding reputation and digital identity critical assets under executive stewardship. Securing remote connectivity has become a strategic imperative in a hybrid world. Traditional VPNs are giving way to Zero Trust Network Access (ZTNA) brokers that authenticate identity and device health before establishing encrypted tunnels. Split tunneling, while improving performance, must be governed carefully to prevent insecure traffic leakage. Executives must ensure that performance service level agreements (SLAs) are in place so remote work remains reliable without compromising security. Equally important is maintaining telemetry parity, capturing the same visibility for off-network users as those on corporate infrastructure. A unified view ensures that remote connectivity enhances business agility while maintaining consistent levels of oversight and control. Wireless and branch networks often represent the most distributed and least monitored extensions of the enterprise. WPA3 and certificate-based authentication replace shared passwords, bringing enterprise-grade encryption and mutual trust to Wi-Fi. Radio frequency segmentation separates corporate, guest, and IoT traffic, reducing cross-contamination risk. Software-defined branch (SD branch) solutions integrate networking, security, and centralized policy management under one operational framework. Rogue access point detection further strengthens the environment, automatically identifying and disabling unauthorized devices. For leadership, these measures ensure that even the most remote offices and mobile hotspots operate under the same governance and visibility as the corporate core. Cloud and hybrid networking have expanded the security perimeter into new dimensions. Virtual private clouds, VPCs, and virtual networks require careful segmentation, routing controls, and firewall policies to maintain isolation between environments. Cloud-native security tools such as web application firewalls, WAFs, private endpoints, and service mesh frameworks enforce policy within dynamic, elastic infrastructures. East-west traffic inside cloud workloads must be monitored with the same rigor as traditional on-premises data centers. Documenting shared responsibility models, clarifying what is managed by the cloud provider versus the organization, is a key governance task. Executives who maintain clear accountability and visibility across hybrid architectures ensure that innovation does not outpace protection. Network security metrics provide executives with a concrete lens into operational performance and business risk. Measuring the coverage of critical services, such as which assets are protected by active firewalls, intrusion detection, or segmentation, helps validate that essential controls function as intended. Mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to respond, MTTR, quantify the organization's agility in identifying and neutralizing network-borne threats. Equally important is tracking the percentage of encrypted traffic that is safely inspected without degrading performance. Segmentation exceptions and policy violations should be logged and trended to reveal process weaknesses or risky behaviors. When communicated clearly, these metrics translate technical complexity into the actionable intelligence boards require for oversight and strategic planning. Compliance and evidence management transforms security practices into defensible documentation. Regulations such as PCI DSS, HIPAA, and SOX each impose unique expectations on network design, access control, and record keeping. Executives must ensure that network isolation diagrams, change logs, and access audit trails are always current and easily retrievable. For PCI environments, this means maintaining clear segmentation that confines cardholder data to verified zones. HIPAA and high-tech frameworks demand encryption and monitoring of protected health information in transit, while SOX emphasizes the retention of change management evidence for financial systems. Maintaining audit-ready documentation eliminates last-minute scrambling during reviews, demonstrating that compliance is a continuous process, not a periodic event. Third-party and carrier relationships expand the network beyond corporate walls, demanding structured oversight. Provider-managed edge controls, such as firewalls, filtering gateways, and DDoS mitigation, must be validated through formal attestations. Contracts should define performance and security SLAs, including commitments for uptime, filtering accuracy, and incident notification. Executives should insist on periodic assessments or penetration tests to ensure outsourced links and peering arrangements remain secure. Peering and interconnects with external entities should also follow clear security expectations regarding routing integrity and traffic inspection. Continuous validation, rather than one-time certification, ensures that dependencies do not become hidden liabilities as technology or vendors evolve over time. Operating networks across global regions introduces additional complexity, requiring executive awareness. Data residency laws dictate where certain traffic or records may be stored or processed, while sovereignty rules can restrict the routing of sensitive information through foreign jurisdictions. Lawful intercept requirements vary by country and must be integrated into network design without jeopardizing confidentiality. Around-the-clock operations demand time zone-aligned monitoring and escalation protocols to maintain consistent coverage. Multilingual and region-specific incident response playbooks help ensure clarity and coordination across borders. For global enterprises, these considerations are not optional. They define the operational feasibility and legal defensibility of network security at scale. Executive governance transforms these diverse technical elements into a coherent, risk-managed framework. Leadership must prioritize investments that increase visibility, enforce segmentation, and strengthen identity-centric access. Policy councils that review and approve exceptions ensure that deviations from standard configurations are both documented and time-bound. Network security should align with enterprise architecture roadmaps so that new business initiatives, such as cloud migrations or mergers, include security from the outset. Regular briefings between technical leaders and executives translate posture into business impact, equipping decision-makers with the insights needed to allocate resources effectively. Governance, in this sense, is both a control mechanism and a communication bridge between operations and oversight. A mature executive approach to network security recognizes that perfection is impossible, but continuous improvement is mandatory. The focus shifts from preventing every incident to ensuring that detection, response, and recovery mechanisms operate swiftly and predictably. Investing in technologies that enhance visibility, training teams to interpret telemetry effectively, and integrating risk metrics into corporate reporting cycles all sustain this evolution. Executives must champion collaboration between IT, compliance, and business units to ensure that security becomes ingrained in every decision. In doing so, they convert network defense from a reactive expense into a proactive enabler of trust, innovation, and resilience across the organization. Executive oversight of network security depends on a clear understanding that data flow is the bloodstream of the organization. Every transaction, application request, or remote connection represents both value and risk. Leaders must view the network not as a purely technical asset, but as a strategic enabler that underpins revenue, service delivery, and reputation. By aligning protection goals with business priorities, such as uptime for customer portals or confidentiality for financial systems, executives ensure that security investments are proportional to risk. This perspective allows for informed trade-offs, where cost, performance, and resilience are balanced under governance frameworks that the board can defend confidently before regulators and shareholders alike. Visibility and segmentation remain two of the most powerful executive levers for reducing network risk. Visibility ensures that leadership knows exactly what assets, users, and data paths exist across the enterprise. Segmentation, meanwhile, ensures that when, not if, a breach occurs, its impact is confined to a manageable scope. These two disciplines should be treated as core performance indicators, not background engineering tasks. Executives who demand regular reports on coverage, exceptions, and telemetry quality gain early warning of systemic weaknesses. In practice, these metrics serve the same function as financial indicators, alerting leadership to trends that could affect organizational stability if left unaddressed. Identity-centric access represents the modern paradigm of network security, replacing static trust with dynamic verification. Every connection, whether from an employee laptop, IoT sensor, or third-party API, must be authenticated and authorized continuously. This model extends the zero-trust philosophy across the enterprise, verifying who or what is accessing resources and under what conditions. Adaptive controls adjust permissions based on real-time risk factors such as device health, geolocation, or anomalous behavior. Executives should view identity systems as the new perimeter, one that blends authentication, policy enforcement, and user behavior analytics into a single unified control surface. It is within this framework that compliance, efficiency, and scalability align most effectively. Integrating cloud and remote realities into network governance is now unavoidable. Cloud platforms, SaaS services, and distributed teams have permanently redefined where business operates. Policy frameworks must therefore extend seamlessly across on-premises data centers, public clouds, and remote connections. Executives must ensure consistent telemetry, enforcement, and encryption regardless of where workloads reside. Metrics should include latency, control coverage, and encryption ratios across these hybrid paths to guarantee not only security but also user experience. The future of network oversight lies in harmonization governance models that adapt to fluid infrastructures without losing accountability or performance visibility. Effective network governance requires continuous measurement, communication, and adaptation. Metrics should flow upward from operations to executive dashboards in concise, decision-ready formats. These reports translate firewall logs and flow data into narratives about business risk, resilience, and compliance posture. Leaders should challenge assumptions, requesting evidence that policies are not only documented but demonstrably enforced. Governance councils, cross-functional security boards, and quarterly reviews create structured opportunities to evaluate whether strategy and execution remain aligned. By embedding network oversight into routine business rhythms, executives ensure that security becomes a living component of corporate decision-making rather than a crisis-driven reaction. In conclusion, network security has become a board-level risk management function. It unites segmentation, visibility, and identity-centric access under a governance model grounded in measurable outcomes. Cloud and remote realities are no longer exceptions. They are the environment in which modern business operates. Executives who validate network posture through metrics, audits, and continuous dialogue transform security from a reactive safeguard into a proactive driver of trust and resilience. Ultimately, a secure network is not defined by its firewalls or protocols, but by leadership's ability to see, measure, and govern the digital lifelines that sustain the enterprise itself.